Most people want to change their life, but they never change the way that they think. And the truth is, your life will rarely grow outside your level of thinking. I've been reading Think and Grow Rich lately, and it's reminded me of something extremely powerful. Success doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with opportunity. It starts with the way that you see yourself, and how you think about life is how you're going to approach life. And today I want to share with you 4 simple mindset shifts that has completely changed my life and can possibly change the direction of your life as well. I originally got introduced to Think and Grow Rich probably about 7 to 8 years ago, but I'll be real with you, I never really read the book completely. It was just always something that I knew was a good self-help book. A lot of people were recommending it, but I'm going to be honest, like ego was like, I'm in a way too good for that book, or at least that's what I thought. Like it was a self-help book. So it was just like Think and Grow Rich. I already think that I can be rich, so I'm going to be rich. So like that was the mindset that I had. But it wasn't until recently that a client of mine actually recommended that I go back and read it in full, that I realized that everything that I had did in my 20s, in the beginning parts of my 20s, were built on the principles that were put inside of Think and Grow Rich. A lot of the successes that I had early on at a young age was because of the principles that I was practicing from Think and Grow Rich. But I was naive. Like I wasn't actually following along with it specifically. So it was like I was doing the right thing, but I wasn't necessarily doing it in the best way or the right way, because I had not introduced myself to the knowledge inside of the book. It's actually a book that was written in 1937 by Napoleon Hill. And for those that know, Napoleon Hill is one of the greatest authors. But what really blew my mind about this book is when I'm reading it and I'm seeing that, wow, this is almost 100-year-old book, but the principles still live today. And it speaks about pretty much how every successful leader that we see today, any successful person that is wealthy, has, great businesses, has built big empires, it all started with their ability to believe that they can do it. And I know that it sounds as simple as, if you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. But that is actually something that is extremely real. And one of the first things that I noticed when I started reading the book was, you have the ability to create whatever it is that you want in life right now. And where you are currently, you are living what you have thought. You have created the environment in which you are in right now. So if you don't like where you are in life right now, you have to change the way that you think. You got to change the way that you think and create a new way of thinking that matches the life that you actually want to live. And in a way, you have to kind of like trick yourself into believing that it is real until it becomes real. The first principle that I learned from the book is, we have to imagine ourselves successful. We oftentimes imagine what could go wrong before we focus on what could go right. Because the things that can go right, we can't necessarily see it in this particular time. We can only see the things that are wrong, or we can only see the things that we lack. I know that me reading the Bible, one of the stories that really honed in with imagining yourself successful is the story of Moses. Like before God called him to, serve his particular purpose, to serve his particular mission, he was a person that didn't believe that he was the right person for the calling. Because of what his past life looked like, he didn't believe that God could be able to use him in order to, create something new inside of the world. He felt like, because of what I had, or the lack of the things that I had, that I'm not able to create more. But God wasn't looking at him for what he had. He looked at what it is that he could become. And oftentimes what we do is we spend more time thinking about the bad things that could go wrong instead of focusing on the good things that can go right. It's better for you to be optimistic and wrong than for you to be pessimistic and right. We sit back and we are able to imagine success, and we can imagine what life actually looks like, but we don't actually sit down and believe that it can happen because we can't see it done yet. I know for me specifically, one thing that really, really, helped me be able to get to some of the success inside of my life, I meditate daily. I reflect daily. But I didn't necessarily know that this was the key power to being able to create everything, I just started meditating because I had a lot of anxiety. I wanted to be able to calm my heart down in situations where it's like my blood is pumping, my blood is flowing, and I feel like I'm losing control. I wanted to just eliminate that completely. But one thing that has actually helped me a lot is being able to have and practice mindfulness, because mindfulness has allowed for me to not only have a clear vision, but to also be able to create the things that I actually want inside of my life. Confidence starts as a picture that we hold before it actually turns into reality. And one thing that we have to really understand is that the mind is going to move toward whatever picture you create. So if you're creating a picture of failure, if you're creating a picture of you not having, if you're creating a picture of doubt, a picture of fear, a picture of everything going wrong, then your worrying and your anxiety is going to turn into the exact thing that you are focusing on. If you can't see yourself winning, then winning is going to be hard for it to ever become a reality, because the mind only believes what we actually tell it. And a lot of the times we are distracted by the things that are inside of the world. So we're never able to unlock our real power because of the things that we consume. So if you want to be able to be successful, as easy as it sounds, it is really this easy. You have to sit down and imagine yourself successful. One thing that's helped me since I have went back and I've reread Think and Grow Rich is understanding that whatever it is that I ask for, I'm going to receive. So if you want a promotion, if you want to make more money inside of your business, if you want to be able to lose weight, or you want to be able to save more money, whatever your goal is, you need to be extremely intentional with what it is that you say. And you have to, in a way, create that image inside of your mind so that your mind can believe that, hey, this is something that is real. The mind doesn't understand the external. It only understands what we put on it internally. So for instance, if we sit and we say, I'm sick, your body's going to probably end up being sick if you tell yourself you're sick long enough. If you sit back and you say, hey, I'm a fat person, and your mind constantly hears that, then your mind, like in a way, that's what you're going to become. So it's the same exact thing when it comes to you actually creating success for yourself. If you say that I have an abundance of overflow inside of my life, if you have a particular dollar amount that you want to specifically make, and you say I have this already, and you're programming your mind to believe that day and night, the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning, the last thing that you do before you go to sleep, and you see it in your environment and you're reading it constantly and you're reading it as if it already is, then your mind is going to actually believe whatever it is that you tell it. I always remember my journey into getting to my dream place. And I always wanted to live in Miami, Florida. Since I was a kid, it was like, it was either Atlanta or it was Miami, Florida. And I wasn't able to ever get on a plane or go to a beach in any type of way until I became an entrepreneur and I could pay for it for myself. And it wasn't until I went to Miami and it was my first time ever being on the beach. I'm sitting on the beach and I remember myself at 19, 20 years old saying, I'm going to live here. Fast forward a couple years later, I'm like 21, 22. I came back to Miami again and I have recordings of myself saying, I'm going to live here. This is going to be my home and I'm going to do it by summertime. Mind you, it's like January, February when I'm saying it. And I'm saying, hey, I'm going to live here by this summer. I didn't have any idea of how I was going to actually be able to get there. I didn't have the money at the particular time to be able to live inside of Miami. And although I didn't make it to Miami that particular summer, I ended up moving to Miami in the same exact spots where I had meditated on that water. And I had said, I'm going to live here in this particular place. The same exact building that was my Airbnb. 2 years later, I ended up moving across the street to a condo that was literally right in front of the view in the place that I said I was going to live here. And the way that I actually got there was me every single morning just dreaming and saying to myself, I'm going to live here. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to attract. And one day in September of 2022, like I got pretty much a call. Like it wasn't necessarily a real call, but I had been looking at condos in Miami and I was pretty much like, hey man, I'm just going to put in the application. At the time, I didn't feel like I could afford to be able to live inside of Miami because if you know anything about Miami, it's extremely expensive to actually live there full time. So at the time, I have all of these things that's going on that's like, you're never going to be able to live there. You don't have the money to be able to live there. And I changed my focus at that particular time. Instead of focusing on what I didn't have, I focused on what I wanted and I act as if I actually had it. So what did I do? I put in applications for some of these places. I had never toured any of these places. And one time, like one of the realtors or the actual realtor that I had worked with, she contacted me and pretty much said, hey, if you want this condo, you have to put in your application now and you got to pretty much send in the deposit. The deposit was $30,000. At the time I'm sitting here and I'm like, that's not something that I can do. But I remembered my saying to myself that I was going to live there. And I remembered to myself, hey man, like you always said that this was your dream. So when the moment came, I had to sit back and identify and analyze, is this something that I'm going to not answer the call to because it's something that I asked for? Or am I going to just trust and believe in God that this $30,000 is going to create itself and I'm going to be able to go and live there and be able to be fruitful in the areas that I'm actually in? Which one did I do? I took the faith. I took the leap of faith. I went in and I filled out the application. I got approved. I was able to pay the deposit and I was moved. I filled out the application in September. By November, I had moved in to my Miami condo. Now, I'm not saying that to actually brag or anything like that. I'm saying that because that was something that I created for myself long before I had the opportunity to be able to live there. And if I had sat back and believed that it could not be me, then it would have never been me. But because I believed that it was going to be something that actually happened for me, when the time came, it's like God doesn't necessarily physically speak to us, but he comes to us in the form of signs or what we call breakthroughs or what we call miracles. And in that time, I'm sitting back and I'm like, wow, this is something that I asked for. God has given me my door. Do I worry about what I don't have or do I focus on what I want? And I focused on what I want. And that was one of the biggest shifts that ever happened for me because it proved to me that God is real and God will give you whatever it is that you ask for. So as far as imagining your success, you have to imagine your success wholeheartedly as if it is already done. You can't worry about what you don't have and the lack of things or the things that you don't, currently hold in this particular moment that may be stopping you from there. Because one thing that I learned is if you believe that you already have it, what God is going to do, how powerful he actually is, he's going to reveal to you the things that you need to do in order to get it if you don't have it already. Because you had the faith in him, because you had the belief in him that, hey, this is something that I can have and something that can be real. I'm not going to worry about what I don't have. I'm going to focus on what I want. He will supply the things that you want in the way that you want it. And as long as you are intentional and you create that message in your mind, you create that vision in your mind, then you can have whatever it is that you desire. The second mindset shift that you need to have is being able to reflect on your past successes. I know specifically for me, like going through life, sometimes we often forget like the things that we have done. So we only are consumed by the things that are currently happening in the moment, that we kind of get down on ourselves when things aren't necessarily going right, but we neglect how far we have actually came and the momentum that we have been able to build over time. I know that in being a young person, like I used to hate when people said it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. Because for me, like that was my belief was it can happen overnight. Like any day can be my one day. I'm only one video away from me becoming a millionaire. I'm only one particular move away from me becoming a billionaire. Like that's my mentality. That's how I've always thought. So when people told me that it's not going to happen overnight, one thing that I had to learn, and this only could happen through time, is that time is going to be something that gives you wisdom, because you're going to go through life and you're going to have your trials, you're going to have your tribulations, you're going to try and you're going to fail. But the failure is just a attempt in learning and you being able to build or compound on the things that you need in order for you to continue to move forward in life. So when life hits us and we're in our current moment and it seems like all of these things are going wrong, or we've been trying to work towards something and something that's just not clicking for us quite yet, those are the very moments that you have to sit down and be able to reflect on how far have I actually come? And what are the small wins that have led up to this particular moment that even has me in the position right now that I have the problems that I actually have? Every challenge that you have went through in life is evidence and proof to you that you have what it takes in order for you to be able to continue to move forward and continue to be able to get better. Confidence doesn't come from, hype. It comes from the evidence of you going through and actually doing specific things in life and knowing the result of your actions that you have taken. So reflecting on your past successes is something that is extremely important to be able to have as a reminder, but it should be used as a fuel for you to be able to keep going. Don't be the person that is walking through life and saying what you could have been or what you did in your early 20s because of who you were and you stopped growing. The biggest thing is we have to continue to grow. Although we can reflect on our past successes, it's extremely important that you stop. If you stop growing, if you stop learning, if you stop educating yourself, then it's hard for you to create new successes and you'll be remembering these repeated successes for the rest of your life. So our goal is to use or remember our past successes to remind us that, hey, we have what it takes. Hey, we can be able to continue to keep going. In those tough moments where we want to quit, look at the progression that you've already been able to make. See how far you've been able to come down the road and look at how far it takes to go back to start. And you will look and realize that, hey, man, this is the place that I need to be in order for me to be able to move forward. I just got to continue to stay focused on what the overall dream is. I got to be able to paint the success inside of my mind and use the experience that I have had in the past as fuel to build me up to who I'm becoming inside of the future. The next mindset shift that we have to have is setting definite goals. One thing that I have realized about myself is whenever my goals are extremely vague, then my success is vague. And it's kind of like I'm going through life and I'm just going through the motions. And I used to have a hard time with this because when I first got started, I had these crazy goals. Like I'm saying I'm in college, a junior in college, and I remember it because I always look back at this particular picture. I don't have the actual poster, but it was my 2019 goals. And in my 2019 goals, mind you, I'm a broke college student at the time, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to make $1 million before April, and I'm going to make $3 million before the summer. So when I used to write my specific goals like that and the time came, and I didn't necessarily accomplish the goal so fast, and what I guess you can say in my eyes was extremely fast, going from zero to $1 million in 3 months. I felt like that at the time, like because I didn't do it, it's like, okay, let me stop putting a time limit on it. Let me stop being specific with what it is that I want, because I felt like a failure when I got to that time and I didn't necessarily accomplish it. So for a long time, I would just create vague goals. I would just say, hey, I want $100,000 or I want material things. It wasn't necessarily purpose driven. But recently, me going back and reading Think and Grow Rich, it proved to me that you have to be extremely intentional with how you set your goals. And when you are extremely intentional with how you set your goals and you have a specific date for where it is that you're trying to accomplish that goal and you set a plan towards being able to get to that goal, and then you execute that plan with persistence, if you get to the specific time and you have not accomplished the goal that you set out to reach, then it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that God may have revealed something new to you that is going to actually help you get to that goal. But you have to continue to create in your mind that I have this thing by that particular date. I make X, Y, and Z before this particular date, and this is the plan that I'm going to use in order for me to get there. If it takes longer for you to get there, then a lot of people just stop. I was one of those people. When I didn't make that $1 million in the first 3 months of 2020 or 2019, it was like, man, I'm a failure. Let me go back and let me be ordinary. Ordinary meaning let me not be extraordinary in the way that I think. Because at the time, again, I'm a college student. So I'm just happy. I'm ambitious. I'm speaking my goals into life. But one thing that me speaking my goals into life taught me is it allowed for other people's opinions to look on my goals and to pretty much discourage me. Like I had friends tell me, hey man, that's not going to happen. Like be realistic. And I started to believe their realism. Like I started to believe what they thought. And that actually, affected me. Like I associated myself with a specific thing and I was so happy about it that I talked about it to everybody. And that was probably the problem. Like I shared it with so many people. But me sharing it with other people, all it did was allow for their beliefs to limit my belief. So right now, wherever it is that you are, set a definite goal. Have a specific, and you have to be extremely intentional with this because whatever it is that you ask for, you're going to receive. So if you don't want something so little, don't ask for anything so little. If anything, ask for something so big that you don't even truly believe it right now. Like that's the type of goals that you need to set. Set a goal that's so big that you can't even really believe it right now in this current moment. But that's what is going to change everything for you because now you're going to be able to program yourself into believing that it is real. And when you speak about it, don't say, I am going to do X, Y, and Z. Say, I have already done. I am living this. This is my reality. Because now when you wake up and all you have done is program your mind to believe this one particular thing and you have set your aim on this one particular goal and you're constantly saying, this is what I have, this is what I'm living, this is who I am, then life is going to go by and the external stuff that you see is kind of going to be like, I don't really recognize I don't recognize the hardships right now. Like all I see is I have this because I have already told myself that I have this. And that one simple mindset shift, like I'm glad that I went through life. I do believe that Think and Grow Rich is a book and it says it on the cover. It says that this is a book that is only going to affect you in the time that you are ready for it. I wasn't ready for Think and Grow Rich back then. I was living some of the principles. I was doing it naturally because it's just something that I felt like that was what was put inside of my spirit to do. Like if you want to create something, like my mom always told me to go to bed with a dream, wake up with a purpose, dream limitlessly. So those were things that she taught and instilled inside of my sister and I at a very young age to where it's like now I believe that I can be and become anything that it is that I put my mind to and there's no limit on it. But when I actually read Think and Grow Rich, this was like proof that you have to be intentional with what it is that you want. You got to imagine yourself having it as if it already is. You got to remember where you came from in order for you to use that as the strength to be able to compound to where it is that you're trying to go. But if you don't have a specific and a definite goal, a definite plan, a definite aim, it's going to be hard for you to accomplish anything at all. The last mindset shift that we need to have, and step number 4, is pretty much responding positively to life. This is something that is extremely big because obviously, life is not perfect. We all go through things. We deal with deaths. We deal with hardships. We deal with a lot of things that seem like struggle. But in these moments that are not what we have pictured it to be, it's not the peaches and the cream. It's not the good stuff. Even in those moments where things are hard, you have to respond to life with positivity. Because what you're doing is you're creating this positive mindset that regardless if this is bad or this is something that is going against me or what it feels like is going against me, if you associate yourself with bad, then you're going to believe that it's bad. If you associate yourself with good, then you're going to believe like it is good. An example of this is for me, whenever I'm going through life and things are like I'm not feeling motivated or I'm not happy to, do specific things in that moment. We're all human, so we have our days. I sit back and I am literally like, hey, man, I'm in this funk right now. It's okay for me to feel this way, but this isn't real. Like this feeling isn't real. This emotion that I have, whatever this bad will is, this isn't real. What's real is what I can see when I close my eyes and I create the vision in which I want. That's what's real for me. That's the thing that is actually going to become the reality. It's the mindset. If you look at the bad and you look at the things that you don't have and you look at the specific things that aren't added into your favor, then you're going to feel like I'm never going to be able to get there. And guess what? Your mind's just going to believe whatever it is you tell it. I was watching a video the other day, and it was pretty much two people. It was an entrepreneur and a blue collar worker. And the blue collar worker was pretty much talking about the reason why he had to stay stuck for where it is that he was is because like, this is just how his life was made. He wasn't the lucky person to be able to have the head start and to do X, Y, and Z. And the entrepreneur on the other end is like, yes, I may have come from a better or what you would call as better background, but I just have never limited myself and said that I'm going to stay stuck in this particular position. I don't believe that my circumstance is my reality. My circumstance is just a part of my growth. It's not who it is that I'm becoming. So if you shift your focus and you focus on the things that you want, then you will get closer to the things that you want. Everybody is going to start in a different position, but where you start is because your story is supposed to be built in a specific way that's going to build up your character so that you can be able to be impactful to the people that you are exposed to in life. So I'm not saying everybody's going to have it easy. Some people are going to have it harder than others. But we all have the ability to create what it is that we want in life by believing, for one, that we can have it, imagining that it can be done, and then setting a specific goal or a date with a plan and executing that plan until we get to where it is that we want to get to. Be the glass half full type of person. Don't be the glass half empty type of person. Like I said earlier in the video, it's better for you to be optimistic and wrong than for you to be pessimistic and right. One thing that I've been living by recently is this saying that I also saw in a video. And it said, if you don't worry about nothing, then you won't have anything to worry about. And that's real. Like if you don't worry about the bad things, if you don't worry about what you don't have, if you don't worry about what is going to happen, then you won't have anything to worry about in the future. Meaning that worry is something that we create for ourselves because we are trying to control a future outcome that is already written for us in the first place. When we realize that our book is already written and every single day we just get the ability and the opportunity to turn the page, you fall in love with the process a little bit more. You get a little bit more patient with yourself. The times that are tough, you're able to look at those times as the ability to create something new, because in hardships, that's where the best opportunity lies. In conclusion, figure out specifically what you want. And when you ask for it, don't ask for it with any type of limit. Whatever you think that your limit is right now, for instance, if you want to make a particular amount of money, write down what that particular amount is and then 10x it and start to focus on the 10x. Focus on being able to get 10x of whatever it is you believe is possible. And it's okay if you don't believe it right now, because that's the problem. You don't believe that you can have it. So once you change your belief and you feel like you can actually get to this thing, now we can focus on what type of plan can be able to actually get me there. Because most people just stop and they stay stuck at, I'm not going to ever be able to do this. So they don't even focus on a plan. When you ask or you dream about something that seems like it is limitless and you 10x whatever goal you may particularly have, immediately what the brain does, it becomes curious to, how can I create this now? And it's okay if you don't have the plan right now. But because you change your belief that you can have it, that's what starts the plan to being created. So write down what it is that you want, make it limitlessly. Figure out a plan of action that you can use in order to be able to get there. Set a definite time in order for you to get there. Then execute that plan with consistency, with persistence. Consistency and persistence, meaning I'm not going to ever give up. I'm just going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to believe in this. I'm going to continue to tell myself that I have this until I actually get this. And other than that, put your faith and trust in God and believe in that He's going to provide you with the things that you need in the times that you need them. So I had a lot of fun in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, share it with somebody else, because they may be able to impact their lives and change the direction of where they are currently. Until the next time, peace.